shit.
Hightailed it out of there.
Are you crazy? Don't go between them! Go between them! Are you crazy?
Welcome to my home.
Good morning. Good morning. Glorious morning. We got the new setup going on. Still trying to dial in the lights, and I'm not even sure that you can hear me, but I was messing with it this morning because the colors were way off, the camera was up, and the lighting. If I don't get the lighting right, like different things and happen. So I'm not a pro at this. I just like to talk. All right, so today we have a lot of stuff to get into. So good morning, everybody. We have first time on 4Ks and Blu-rays. We're getting a bunch of, or well, not a bunch. We're getting one reissue, which is kind of a big deal because people were upset that the only option was this big, giant, ridiculous set. So we're getting a reissue, which is great. Let's see, The Upgrade Curse. Something is finally coming out to like a nice premium, chunky boutique box. And I finally picked it up. So it wasn't even an upgrade. It was something I finally picked up. And now we're getting a premium edition. And I'm pretty sure it's 4K. Let's see. New channel member. Let's see. So we have a new channel member. And welcome. Let's see. Where's this? Here we go. Super Random Forum. Welcome. Welcome. And then as all new channel members, you're going to receive this. Let's see. So yes, that's one of my favorites. I love that movie, love the scene, and it's perfect. Welcome. Let's see. And let's see. Morning, TJ. Good morning, brother. With a coffee cup and the everyone with the evolve emoji. Nice. Yeah, channel members get special emojis, and I have to mess with it. I have to work on that. I have to up that game. I can add 2 more. So I don't know if you have any suggestions, but we can add 2 more emojis now. And let's see, get that everyone in there. Let's see.
Bring me everyone. What do you mean everyone?
Everyone!
Yes, everyone. And good morning, brother. Let's see. And Blue Corner said, good morning, brother. Well, Arnold's X didn't go over well because with the customers, sadly. Oh man, that is great. So somebody took clips of Arnold saying things, and it's learn the alphabet with Arnold, and it does it like a Sesame Street thing. It's like A is for it just continues to do Arnold things. X was the funniest one. I died laughing when he got to X because it was just a bunch of gibberish and hilarious. And so, yeah, I sent that out. I sent that out to a few friends last night, and yeah, it was great. It was great. I'm a Twitter friend. I probably gotta send one to TJ now, but it was great. Let's see. There's that. And then so we started doing this show within a show. So it's the late fees and late nights from the video rental store era, movies that I'm going to be watching this weekend in that kind of video store vibe. And this week, the theme is cable movie staples. So these are the things that were stuck on cable, not really stuck on cable. They were played on cable a ton. And so that's where a lot of people found them. But these are movies that honestly, all of these were rented at some point, and then I recall throughout the time. I still have them on VHS. Some of them I have on Blu-ray. Some of them, actually, one of them here doesn't have Blu-ray at all. But like Kingpin, I spoiled it. We're going to talk about it later. But one of them here, spoiler, I don't have on Blu-ray or 4K because it's just I've seen it so many times on cable, and then finally getting the VHS. I haven't wanted to watch it anytime soon, but now I'm going to rewatch it. But there is a 4K available of them, so that's why I have these, because these were just on cable all the time, and I remember that. And Kodak came out with something on Twitter yesterday, and it was interesting because in this space, not everybody, but people appreciate film. And in that, there has always been a smaller group of people that get into, home filmmaking themselves, like independent filmmaking. Well, a really cool thing, I think, that Kodak is doing, oh, mind the airplanes. But Kodak is doing, they just announced that there's like another, like actual film for movies that you can buy. I don't know what it costs to develop, but independent filmmakers used to buy it all the time. And, there you would hear stories where kids that wanted to be a filmmaker would do that. So they're bringing it back, or they're adding more to their, film lineup. And so film is not dead, even though most everything went to digital, and digital's so easy. I still have a film camera, and you can get that stuff developed. So you can still buy film and get developed, but now they're actually putting out movie film. So you can buy that, and the old cameras, like some of those old cameras still work. I mean, some of them are probably not in great condition because the way they were like tossed in basements and garages, but a lot of old cameras still work. So I just thought that was really cool. So probably not why we're here for today, but we are here for the new 4Ks and Blu-rays. We're going to talk about that soon. And so then, let's see. And Cowabunga Dude. What's up, brother? What's up, brother? Morning. And good morning. Good morning. Let's see. Help us heroes. Yeah. So let me see. It's trying to get me to update it. And so I can double click on it to update. And that's what it keeps telling me. So I can't read the name unless I read it ahead of time. Help us heroes. Good morning, brother. And Scott. Hello from Ohio. 50 degrees here. Nice. It gets pretty warm here in Colorado. At night, it's been lowing down to like the 40s, but I've moved a lot of my houseplants outside to get some big growth out of them. And I brought some houseplants up here because I love plants, and that's part of my thing. So yeah, this was downstairs, and it's got some like crazy, giant, ridiculous leaves. And so hopefully I can get this thing to cover up this entire wall eventually. So that's the goal. But yeah, good morning. Yeah, it's been warm here, like in the higher 50s and 60s, and then like I said, it's been getting down to like the 40s at night. Let's see. But good morning, and good morning, Arthur. Good morning, brother. All right, so yeah, diving into that, we're gonna hold off on that. But these are the things I'm actually kind of excited for. Let's move this over. And everything that I'm stoked for that's coming out. There's a lot of new stuff. And one of the major things is Tales from the Crypt is no longer going to be like Shudder. Shudder got rid of Joe Bob. And that was a big deal. People canceled. I never had it because I'm just not a streaming guy. I just can't really get into it. And the few things we have, like we got Peacock streaming for free with the internet for like 2 or 3 years or some kind of crazy weird package. We hardly use it. I think like when we first got it, my kid used it a bunch. My wife used it a couple times. I watched one thing on it. We're just not a streaming family. And so it's just not a thing for me. But Tales from the Crypt going to Shudder, I guess. So that's kind of a cool thing. And yeah, so there's that. But these are the things I'm really stoked for. And well, this one I'm not super stoked for. I didn't need it. I didn't need another copy of this. We hardly ever watch this movie, but we have it in the collection. I've had this movie my entire life. I'm not even sharing the screen yet. Let me share the screen before I build this movie up, because it's not great. It's a Disney movie, and I'm excited only because we're getting more stuff. Hold on, it's trying to get me to do a bunch of stuff right now because of new setup. Okay, gee. Now I can't get rid of that. There we go. Jeez. So it's trying to share the screen. It's trying to get me to like screen record while I'm sharing the screen for Google, because in order to use this program that I'm using, I have to use Chrome. And now it's like it's being weird, which I don't mind. Like, it's whatever. I'm like, we're just doing this, but at the same time, like I just want to share the screen, and it's trying to get me to like open the settings, and then it's like not doing what it needs to do. Let's see, hold on. Oh, now see, now it wants to quit the whole thing in order to make this work. So maybe we're not going to share any screens today. Okay, here we go. All right. Well, I got it to pop up, but it was telling me in order for this to work, it would have to quit Chrome. And like, I'm in the middle of hanging out, man. Like, God, things are ridiculous. All right. So anyway, so this is what we're talking about today. Let me bring this down here. Okay. Things I'm excited for, but this one I'm excited only because it's Disney, and hopefully, I mean, granted, it's nothing new, it's nothing special. It's putting an old classic on 4K, and it might have been on 4K before. I don't even know, but getting stuff out of Disney, hopefully, we'll get more stuff. But the reality is, we probably aren't. Like, that old stuff costs money for them to repair and transfer and put it out there. But the problem is there is stuff on streaming that is in a higher resolution that has never been put out. So there's stuff that's stuck on DVD or never even made it to DVD that is on their streaming service that would be great if they just transfer that to a Blu-ray or 4K. So that would be the hope and the dream. But they're constantly putting this stuff out because they have that in their own basket of, these are the winners. These are the things that everybody wants. But the thing is, that type of stuff, these old Disney classics used to be in the Disney vault. And so then when a new generation would come up, younger kids or older people now, they grew up with those movies, but they have kids now. And just to reintroduce it every 10 or 15 years. And they used to put that stuff in the vault. This stuff has not been in the vault in a long time. And the stuff that is the things that people want. So, it's a great thing that it's coming out, but I honestly don't think that this is going to give us that back catalog. But if we don't buy it, if you want it, get it. I'm not telling you to buy this, but the thing is, it's like, if we don't buy it, then we're never going to get that older stuff, because then they just go, yeah, that's right. We're not going to put anything else out because they're not buying what we are putting out. So it's a double-edged sword. I hate it. And I don't need it. I really don't need it. I like the art on it. I like Alice in Wonderland fine. I have the Blu-ray, but I was like, my kid hasn't watched it in many years. And so I think like probably the last time we honestly sat down as a family to watch Alice in Wonderland was probably 5 years ago. And so to justify buying it on 4K, to then watch it because we just got it, to then not watch it for another 5 years, I can't imagine I need that. And when I have upgraded some of my Disney movies from 4K, I found them cheap at Big Lots. And so there was a whole time period where I got like Lion King and like the two other ones. I got it at Big Lots for like under $5 for the 4K. And then Moana, I got the Moana 4K Steelbook. I found it at a used bookstore for $5. So that's where I've done, that's what I have done for my 4K upgrades for Disney stuff. But yeah, this, I can't see it's a day one. And I'm stoked that it's coming out. That's the problem. I'm stoked it's coming out, but I'm hoping more stuff comes out, the older back catalog. I just don't see it. If they're just going to keep reissuing that stuff. But then we have the Warner Archive May announcements. I love Warner Archive. Let's see what they got. A lot of older stuff. Great. And we talked about the cartoon classic or the Looney Tunes cartoons last week, but we're getting the Monogram Matinee. Let's see, the Late Show. What's the Late Show? So from 1977, Art Carney, Lily Tomlin. I'll check that out. I've never seen it, but I'll check that out. I'll watch anything Lily Tomlin's in. There's that. The Possessed with Joan Crawford. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I need too many Joan Crawford movies in my life. I have only seen that one movie, Mommy Dearest, that was based on Joan Crawford. And I don't think I've ever seen an actual Joan Crawford movie. But that's not why like they said she was crazy and a little nuts. And that's not why I'm basing why I don't need to see it. I've never had that like, ooh, Joan Crawford, let me check that out. Not like I feel like with the Marilyn Monroe stuff. I was like, when I was a kid, I watched all the Marilyn Monroe movies, and I don't have too many of them in my collection. And so that's kind of a frustrating thing because Fox actually owns some great ones. And so I have to go back. And I think all of those Blu-rays are out of print now. not crazy expensive. I've seen quite a few of them on eBay, but I'd like to try to put the Marilyn Monroe collection together. So any more of that stuff, that would be an easy day one. But Joan Crawford, I can't say that I need it. I could be wrong, but I don't know. And this one was intriguing. Follow Me Quietly, Warner Archive from 1949. I do love this older cinema. What is this? William Longdon and Dorothy Patrick. Yeah, give me that. Looks like a noir. I'm in. What is it? It's mystery, psychological thriller, crime. An obsessed cop tracks an elusive killer known as the Judge, who strangles his victims on rainy nights. Nice. That reminds me of that Gary Oldman film. So there's a Gary Oldman, Kevin Bacon film. I think it's called Criminal Law. And Gary Oldman is a lawyer, and Kevin Bacon is a very wealthy man, and he's on trial for murder. In the opening scene, Gary Oldman gets him off, but then Kevin Bacon lets him know early on, yeah, I totally did it, and I want you to be my lawyer forever. And he plays this weird cat and mouse game where he completely tells the lawyer that he's a serial killer. And it just happens that the murders are happening on rainy nights, or the bodies were found on rainy nights. And it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting connection there. I don't know. Maybe it's not even connected at all. It just popped in my head, but a great film nonetheless. So we got that. And then this, we talked about it. This was, came up on Twitter as part of the rumors, but now this was officially announced 3 days ago from Lionsgate, the Rambo collection. I'm super stoked. Apparently any problems that were in the previous release of this, apparently this is all fixed. 1, they're giving you Dolby Vision. 2, they're giving you Dolby Atmos. And I wasn't aware of any major problems or flaws, but as I was reading comments on this, people were super excited and then making that blanket statement of finally fixed or finally getting this. And so it just felt like, those older ish. And I never thought that there were amazing 4Ks. And I don't even have every Rambo film on 4K, but I have a good majority of them. And the one I watched the most is First Blood. And I think it looks fantastic. I think it sounds pretty good. So I was I'm not exactly sure what they were implying by that, but the general audience that were commenting on this was completely talking about how it's finally fixed. So if it is, great. But I'm excited about this. This is something I'll probably end up picking up. I do like it. I like the way the whole thing, the whole presentation of this looked pretty sharp. And you're getting exclusive new Dolby Vision HDR presentation of the theatrical cut of the film, new Dolby Atmos track. You're getting the Dolby True HD 5.1, all that other stuff. New exclusive to this release, which is the PCM theatrical stereo, which is cool. Apparently it wasn't included on the last version. And First Blood Part 2, exclusive new Dolby Vision and Atmos as well. And again, so maybe that's what they didn't probably include the original audio track. And it seems like, because it says new exclusive to this release. And so I do enjoy when they have that original audio track, but there are people that lose their minds if it's not included. And I don't mind. There's times where I notice sometimes that older 2-channel audio was just great the way it was. And that's the way it was. And the thing is, everyone argues, that's not how it was recorded. And the reality is, none of it's how it's recorded. They record it and then they mix it after when they're putting the film together. So it's not how you first saw it. It's not how you first enjoyed it. But it's, to say that it's not how it was recorded is technically, I would say, false, because they're not recording and they're not having 2 microphones usually. I'm so sure sometimes they do, but they mix it after the fact. And so they decide what channels go to which speakers, and so that is a thing. But people lose their minds if it's not the original way that they saw it. And I don't argue, but most of the time, if there's a modern audio track, I have the surround sound, and I'm almost always listening to it that way, unless it's a weird audio mix where the surround speakers are heavier, especially the front stage. So if my right and left front channels are booming and crazy loud, and then I can hardly hear the center channel and I can hear the voices, and when the background noise is going on in the front stage, and then when that's very quiet, and then then they're screaming because I've had to turn the volume up so loud to kind of compensate. There's a few movies, not all, that I will switch to that original 2-channel audio. But on Rambo, like I said, I didn't think there was ever a problem. So that's just me. But I am stoked. I'm going to get this. I like the present. I like this box set, and it's including Last Blood. The dilemma is they've announced making another Rambo film. So if you go out and buy this set, and then there's another Rambo film, and granted, you don't have to get it. It says Last Blood. So technically, you can just wrap up that entire story with that collection. But if you love the new film, you have it. Like, there is that thing of like, why would I buy this? But I don't know. They've done it every single time, but I don't think that they've done it recently with some of these films where they're like, "Hey, we're going to be doing another one, but here you go. Here's a box set of all the old ones." So it is a way to get all the movies all at once in a premium format, but then you have that odd random one if you want to have that in your collection as well. I don't know. It's just a nitpick. I guess kind of a gripe too. And this one here. So we're getting. Let's see, which is this one? Elvis Presley live in concert. What is this? Is this a movie? Is this a docudrama thing that I missed? Yeah, DKL releasing from 2025, and it comes out in June. So yeah, it's something I completely missed. I'm not a huge Elvis guy. I watched some Elvis stuff. I grew up with it. It's been around my entire life. But yeah, I'm not into that one. But if you're into it seems like maybe it is in the docudrama. What is this? A mix of documentary and part concert film made unused footage from Elvis. It's probably cool. If I did watch it, it would be a one and done. My father-in-law is huge into Elvis. So because he's huge into Elvis, and he's older, yeah, he's in his 70s. So he grew up with he had Elvis in his life. And my daughter, because of him, my daughter absolutely loves Elvis. But this is not something that we need. But she does like documentaries. She likes commentary. She likes that stuff. So my kid would definitely get into this. That's just not for me. We talked about Silent Hill before, and we talked about that before. Here's one that I'm actually stoked for. So this is something, and one I don't recall when I've seen the movie poster for this. So one, I've never seen it. I can't say that this is a great film, and I'm going to stand by it's probably not. But the original VHS that I remember seeing of this, so that is reminiscent of the original Meatballs movie poster. And the Meatballs franchise is something that has gone off the rails. Like, it does not really, like, the second one, the third one, completely different from the first movie. And I enjoy those movies. I don't have the second one at all, but I have the third one on VHS. And I've never seen this fourth movie, but my recollection of seeing the cover, and that's kind of what put me off. So Corey Feldman's in it. I like Corey Feldman. I like, you couldn't grow up in the 80s or 90s without watching any of the Corey films. And so Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, and then they did a lot of films together. But this is something that I just kind of passed on it because that VHS cover, I recall, I think it was the same image where it's him and then each girl in their bikini on each side of him. But I feel like it was a boring photograph of like him standing on a dock or something. That was what I remember. I don't remember this art at all. And so they just took that original art and from Meatballs and then just made it look like this. And so I don't remember anybody ever talking about this film. I've heard about the second one and the third one a bunch. I owned the third one and I've seen them a bunch of times. But that's the thing, is because people continually talk about them. I've never heard anybody talk about Meatballs 4. So I don't know that I need it, but that art it's that trickery where you're like, I think it's going to be a good film. But if you go back to look at that original VHS cover, I just don't remember it being that great. And so, yeah, that's just my opinion on it. And again, I didn't see the movie because of the artwork. That was another thing. So then we have that. Let's catch up with the chat. Let's see. Let's take this out. Here we go. And then let's see. Did I say good morning, Arthur? Good morning, Arthur, if I didn't say good morning already. And good morning, Darren G. Good morning, brother. And what do we have? Let's see. Blue Corner says, Rambo listing already went live and is already sold out. Get out of here. That sucks. Well, I hope they make more than that at that point. Yeah, that sucks. Because, like, I noticed it last night. I don't know when it was live and when it was sold out, but like sometimes that stuff happens and then it comes back a little bit. Like, so maybe because like when they do that pre-order and they put it up, I feel, I don't have any like actual knowledge, but I feel like, because like something, not everything, some things, especially with like Lionsgate would probably do it, I think, where they go, all right, we pre-sold X amount and it's already gone, so let's just add another 50,000 or add another 10,000 to the batch, and they do that because then like there have been times like I don't remember recently. I know Arrow did it not too long ago where like something sold out. I talked about it on stream. It was sold out. And then by like the end of that day, somebody messaged me and like, hey, it's back in stock. And so like, I feel that they might be printing more. I hope they do. But if not, then very possibly we could get single editions. And I don't mind that either, but I do like that box set. And I honestly feel that, there's going to be a million of them on eBay. Yeah, I was glad I got my order in for sure. Yeah, I was like, oh, man, yeah. I was like, well, I'm glad you got one. I didn't get one yet. I was unaware there was a Meatballs 4. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think anybody was aware there was a Meatballs 4. And the cover art, that makes it look great. But let me show you. Let me get to Meatballs 4 because I believe, as a VHS collector, I believe that the original art was not that great. Yeah, here it is. So this right here makes it feel like here's the original art. Let's see. Look at that. This makes it feel like a cheesy independent film, like maybe Corey Feldman put up 10 grand and made this movie. Like that's how it almost feels. And then shot the whole thing on a VHS camcorder. Like just from that cover. And that was the official poster. That was it. Like, going back to like I always say, like the original movie posters that were painted are far superior. And so there are times, not always, but I mean, some of my all-time favorite movies have the painted movie posters, but there's been many times where I pick up a movie thinking it's going to be great because the poster's awesome. And it lies to you. This one, I think, is telling the truth. And so the new version, I'm not even recommending it. I've never seen it. I can't recommend it. Check out the trailer. I just get the vibe that this is a really one-off B movie because nobody talks about it. But yeah, it's part of the Meatballs franchise as well. We have that. See, we need Rivera 903. Good morning, brother. We need more action movies on 4K. Just watched Mad Max Fury Road. It is incredible in 4K. Yeah, we do. We definitely need more. And I mean, I want all the movies to get put out on 4K. And I've said before, the reason is discovery. There's so many movies that are out there that have just missed a bunch of people by. They're out of print. They're out of sight. And it's different. The discovery thing's different now because everything's online. So while the movies exist, you don't know they exist because they're not in front of your face or nobody's talking about them. But then that reissue happens, or we finally get something on 4K, then everybody talks about it and more people can find it. And so I think everything should, but action movies have or seem to have the best benefit from a 4K restoration. And there's that. I just watched something the other day. It was on Blu-ray. And I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm not going to tell you what it is because I got to talk about it later. But it's something on Blu-ray and it looked amazing being on Blu-ray. But the thing is, I have to do the research on it. It had to be a scan because like those artifacts and pops that come on like older film that has a little bit of, it's older. It's starting to degrade and it has like the lines and the pops in it. So the film looks like almost like 4K quality on a Blu-ray. It looks so good. Colors are amazing. Everything's great. But throughout the film, it has little kind of like those artifacts just pop up every now and again, almost like you're at a movie theater and you're watching a movie on film that had been played a bunch of times. And sometimes you see that. And so there's that. But it still looks absolutely amazing. And so like maybe some people will gripe about it, but I was like, it didn't really bother me. And so maybe not everything needs to come to 4K, but I think everything needs a 4K restoration because that Blu-ray looks amazing. So, and without even the restoration, like the colors, everything about that just was amazing. So I agree with you. I do agree with you, but I think everything should come out or at least get restored in 4K. Let's see. And Andy, good morning, brother. Let's see. Andy C says 80s finally received Tiptoes and Dead Fish yesterday. Thanks for the recommendations. I am looking forward to the watch on them tonight. Yes. And so famously, there's a comedian. Oh, I forget his name. There's a famous little person comedian who gets angry at Peter Dinklage for saying what he said about the Snow White movie and basically taking jobs away from little people. And even though he points out that, obviously art is art, movies are movies, he says it's the most offensive movie for little people because they made Gary Oldman, they made him the midget. Like he's in, and Peter Dinklage is in the film. And so that's what he gets angry at. So he's like, you took jobs away from us, but you were in Tiptoes. It is the most offensive movie. And so, but it's great. It's great. It's worth a watch. It's not for everybody, but I love it. I love it. And he emphasizes the fact that like they put the shoes on his knees, but they taped his arms back. And so he always does that too. He gets up. And so you have this, and he's a comedian. I forget his name. Oh, he's hilarious though. But he gets up and he does the thing and he goes, so it's even smaller because he's already a midget. And so he's like, and he tapes his arms back, and it's like, that's so offensive. it's funny. Yeah, but Tiptoes, I think, is great. Let's see, what do we got? And Rivera 903 says, Depp, Gyllenhaal, or Cruise, which of these actors deserve, let's see. I guess this is a little laptop now. I went from like a giant computer monitor to this little laptop. Let's see. Depp, Gyllenhaal, or Cruise, which of these actors deserve to be the first to win an Oscar if it was up to you? Oh, that's the thing. I don't put a lot of thought and faith into those awards because there's so many times that I'm just like, that movie wasn't that great, or that performance wasn't that great. So I don't know. I kind of stopped doing that. But if I were to honestly guess or like to put up a thing, I think they're all great, and it would really depend. Like Gyllenhaal is great in so many things, but then I'm a huge fan of Johnny Depp, but like, and Cruise is great. I mean, that's like a hard one. It would really depend on the movie, but if I were to just like blindly say like this guy is underrated, deserves an award, I would say Johnny Depp. I would say it for sure. And I'm not saying he's underrated, but like not winning an award, not winning the Oscar. Yeah, he needs one for sure. But I love them all. I think they're all great, and they all should have awards. There's so many movies that they've done that I'm just like, wow. And I was like, and Cruise has really taken off onto like the action stuff and more of that. And so it's like, I'm honestly not going, you should get an Oscar for your Mission Impossible movies, but like, I'd give him an Oscar for Legend. I'm kind of biased. I love that film, and it wouldn't be right without Tom Cruise anyway. So yeah, give him one. Let's see. And Gabriel Perez, good morning, brother. What's up? I'm waiting for Arachnophobia to get a 4K release. Well, funny you say that. I have it over here in the pile to talk about later today. But yes, Arachnophobia, I have the Blu-ray. And there's a funny thing about that one. So with Arachnophobia, I'm doing a deep dive on this one because I have an opinion on why Mandela effects happen, and I'm going to do a whole video on it. But there's an actual thing where people are misremembering things, and then collectively. And I don't think it's like people are like, oh, we're on a different timeline now. I literally think certain things just make more sense, especially if you've never seen it and you just kind of repeating what everybody else says, and it just becomes the collective consciousness. Because how many times has somebody watched Field of Dreams? But everybody knows that line because of the trailer, and it was on news reports. I remember in the 90s, like they would mention it and it would come up, and everybody kept saying the same thing over and over again, but not everybody was watching the movie. So you were just repeating what you had already heard. And so then everybody goes, yeah, that's what it was. It was never he will come. It was build it and they will come, because that makes more sense when you watch the trailer and you've never seen the movie, because he builds the field and then the baseball players come out of the field. Build it and they will come is the collective Mandela effect memory, but it's build it and he will come because the movie's about his father. Like that's what the whole thing is. So you have non-movie people quoting this, and then it was on the news and it's being misquoted, and it's because I think most Mandela effects are, and then not all, there's definitely ones that are like, hey, that seems like some trickery. But most of them seem like that was the better thing, or that felt right, or that it just rolled off the tongue nicer. And then everybody just started repeating it. And so there's that. And so with the Mandela effect, this one, comes up sometimes, and I see it. I see these like there's like these like YouTube shorts, or like TikTok social media that pops up sometimes, where it's just like you're scrolling your phone and these people are like, oh my god, these Mandela effects. And this is one that comes up all the time, but I'm like, it's not true. Arachnophobia. So the argument is there used to be a spider there. Well, there is. My Blu-ray has it, and there is a VHS with the spider on there. And I remember the movie poster, but there was both. And so they're saying that it doesn't exist, or they remember the spider and there's no spider now. But my Blu-ray has the spider on it. So it was just different things. And so I don't know the reason for this, but it comes up in one of those Mandela effect things. And that's not what we're talking about, Arachnophobia, today, by the way. I love the movie. That's what we're talking about. But yeah, that's one. It's interesting. And so that one is, I don't ever think it's like forgotten about, but because it gets talked about so much in other ways. And like, that's one of the ways that it gets talked about. But I do love the film. And yeah, that would be an easy day one for 4K for sure. Let's see. I kind of like that original cover. Yeah. I was like, well, yeah, it's got its merits, but the one cover, the new cover, sells you on the original Meatballs movie. And that's the thing is, like, do they even put out 2 and 3 on Blu-ray? Because I have 3 on VHS. Like they went straight from it. I almost feel like, maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like, Meatballs got a release not too long ago, and finally, it was stuck on DVD for a while, so it finally got a release not too long ago. I picked it up. I love that movie. And then we just skipped past 2 and 3, and then we're trying to sell you 4 on Corey Feldman with the artwork from the first one. And I was like, there's some trickery there, because I would definitely buy. I know I would buy the first 2 movies, or for the 2 and 3 for sure. Let's see. And good morning, Dark Cloud. Good morning, 80s. I got a question. There are several box sets for Beastmaster. Which one is the best buy? Well, I think they're all the same. The transfers are the same. The special. I don't think there's any one over the other has the better special features. I would say whichever one is available now. And the Beastmaster VSU box set, that's long sold out, long out of print. And so if you want it, you're going to spend a little bit extra money for that. The regular standard version of Beastmaster is great. You can pick that up. But if you're looking for a box set, I would just be biased and say, get the one that's currently available, which is the imprint version. It's got the lenticular case. I just did a review on it, and I do enjoy it. And then I had that Vinegar Syndrome release, but when that came out, I was early into my, getting into the boutique labels and the expensive premium box sets. And in my head, I'm like, why am I going to spend X dollars on this box set when I just want the movie? And so, but then like right after that, then they released Showgirls on Vinegar Syndrome VSU. And I was like, I love that movie. It's a cult film. I remember watching it when I was a kid. It was kind of a big deal. It's a bad film, and I need it. And of course, I need the crazy, ridiculous, expensive set. And so that was a day one purchase. And then that got me into the big chunky box sets, and that just went out of control. And so I never did pick that up. And then I ended up giving my Vinegar Syndrome version to a friend. So I put it in the pen pal box and sending that off. And so I didn't even compare, because it's already packaged up. But I didn't compare it, but I'm fairly certain, because the imprint thing, when it came out, I get an email and it's like, these are all the new features, and these are the things that are added. And so I can read through the press kit and see what's available. And from everything that I was looking at that Beastmaster, there was nothing new. And so as far as quality, special features, transfer, all that stuff, it looks like it's going to be the same no matter which one you get, but you can pick up the current one, and I would say get that one. And it's lenticular, which I did a review on it, and I talked about how, I was never really into the lenticulars, but those ones I think are absolutely amazing. They're some of the best lenticulars I've ever seen. And so if you are into that, it's a really cool display piece. Let's see. Have you seen the rumor of disturbing behavior in 4K via Shout for July? I didn't see it, but somebody else told me about it too, and so we can look that up. But no, I don't know. And so that would be great because I do have disturbing behavior, but that would be a nice pickup for sure. Let's see. Is it on Twitter? Disturbing. No, let's see. No, it's not there. Maybe it is. Sometimes. Because that's not the first time I've heard of it recently. Disturbing. But sometimes I've noticed like there's been times where it seems like people that don't have any knowledge about stuff are posting it and then they're able to use AI and the computer to kind of manipulate it a little bit. And so then they're claiming stuff is coming out because very recently there was a claim of all these Disney owned properties finally getting the 4K treatment. And they were like things that people wanted, like big heavy duty action films and stuff like that, like people really wanted. And then like people that also have connections, like Disney didn't come out and make any personal thing, but people that actually have real connections in Disney and get the like, hey, this stuff is coming out, and we get that rumor from them. And they could be wrong too, but like their rumors almost always come to fruition within a month or two where we get the announcement for real. And so those people came out and said there is no plans on any of that stuff. And so there's a lot of that going around now. So that also might be a thing, but let me just see. Let's see. Because I do have the 4K from MVD, and it wouldn't be a big deal. Let's see. At the quick glance, like out of the place I normally check out, like I'm not seeing anything, but it just got a Blu-ray not too long ago, and that Blu-ray looks pretty good, and it wouldn't be a shocker if we did. Let's see. Comedian's name is Brad Williams. Yeah, he is hilarious, and I've seen two of his specials. I don't know how many specials he has out there, but I've seen two of his specials. But I've also seen him out there running the circuit, complaining about how Peter Dinklage took jobs away and was in Tiptoes, and he brings it up often. Let's see, what is this? MVD was already asked about Meatballs 3, and they said they don't have the rights. Yeah, and so that's the thing. I knew that, like, well, I didn't know, but I felt like those two were skipped, and like I have the VHS, but nothing else, and so there's got to be a reason behind it, and but also I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, and that Meatballs 4 is great, but none of those films match the first one. Let's see, what do we got? Late to the party and early as showing of Hail Mary kept me. Oh, well, nice. Sit the brick. Well, I'm glad you're here and glad you got to see that. Did you enjoy it? I'm hearing a lot of great things. Like a lot of people are saying that's a great movie, and I'll get to see it eventually. I'll pick it up. But it's one that we're not going to go see it in theaters. Like I've already talked about it. The next movie we're going to go see in theaters is Masters of the Universe. That's a fact. But yeah, not that one. Let's see, what do we got? What have been your favorite special features this year so far? I don't know. I've been really focusing on this room more than diving into a lot of the special features. So the only things that I have watched for special features has mostly been the stuff that I have to do for review. And I've just enjoyed all of that, but nothing really stood out to me. But it didn't, when did I think it came out in December, so maybe it doesn't count. When did Under Siege come out on Arrow Video? Because if I think that came out in December, but I also think I watched it in January. So in my brain, I'm thinking it's a this year thing. Let's see. Under Siege. Oh, it did come out January 6th. So it came out in January. So yeah, that would probably have to be my favorite because it was interesting. It was an interesting thing because it just seemed like my memory and my difference, and everything because I remember when the movie came out and I remember the big deal about it. And I remember, all the stuff. And then, in the special features, there was just a little bit of, things that weren't included back then. So I enjoyed that one. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Under Siege was the end of 2025, beginning of 2076. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that would probably have to be so far my favorite for sure. And then let's see, let's dive back into what is coming out, things I'm stoked for. And I'm definitely, I'm not saying I'm not getting the Corey Feldman and Meatballs 4 movie, but I don't know if I need it day one. Like that's definitely a for sure thing. So, because there is a part of me that is not 100% a completionist because there are definitely franchise films where I don't have the last couple because I was like, it was great where it was and I didn't need the other ones. And so there's that. But with this, because none of the movies match up, I feel like it would be I just need them all. But I also think that maybe I need them all on VHS. Maybe that's where I need them all. But yeah, that one, I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. Maybe I'll pick it up. Let's see. We got that. But I do love the art. I do love the modern art for it. What do we got? And then this. So there's some stuff coming out. It looks like out of Radiance Films. Where is this? Here we go. This is something. So this is where I say this is like the upgrade curse, but I didn't have it in the collection. So I just picked this up like a month ago on Blu-ray, and it was an MVD thing. So it was great. It was fine. It was enjoyable. The Blu-ray looks good. But now we are getting Vampire's Kiss on 4K Blu-ray. So we're getting this, and I love this film. This is a movie. It's Nicolas Cage that is a little bit wild in this one, and he gets bit, and then he thinks he's turning into a vampire, and he's going crazy, and it's just unhinged Nicolas Cage, and it's fun, and it looks like it's coming in like the Radiance film, the chunkier box set, which I'm a sucker for. I like those. Do I need to double dip on this? No, but do I want it? Yeah, it's one of those things. Like I just picked up that MVD version, and so like I definitely I don't need it, and it's frustrating, and it does happen sometimes. Like you upgrade something finally, or you finally pick up something, and then we get the 4K the other day, or the next day, and it's happened so often. It really does make me apprehensive to not pick stuff up, but I have been following the rule, and I'm pretty sure when I picked that up, it wasn't like a crazy expensive price. I think like we're talking $11 tops, because that has been my rule moving forward. Unless it's something crazy obscure, I'm definitely looking for as cheaply as possible, or an older format, a DVD, a VHS, something like that, or one of those things. Like I don't think Good Son is ever going to get a re-release anytime soon, and so I have the VHS, but I would love the out of print Blu-ray. But the cheapest I've ever seen it is like $60 on average, $85 to $100 or more for the out of print Kino Lorber Blu-ray, and I would just love for another release of that. And so like stuff like that is different. But Vampire's Kiss, I should have known we'd get a 4K at some point. But again, I think the Blu-ray is fine. I'm a sucker for the special features that might be included in here. And it's a big chunky box set. So it's going to come with probably a book. And I enjoy that stuff. Here we go. Let's see. I'll get to the other ones in just a second. But this one popped up. It says, you don't need to complete every franchise. Tremors is one I don't need all 7 for the collection. Correct. I only have Tremors 1. And I remember being a kid, like Tremors was on TV all the time back in the day. And so I remember being a kid and watching Tremors a lot. And I think I really just like the first 2 movies. I don't think I like any of the other ones. But it's been a long time since I've seen them all, and I'm fairly certain I've not seen all 7 because I don't think I knew there was 7 films. If it came out in like a really fun box set, yeah, sure, I'll grab them all, but to buy them individually, you're probably right. And it's the same thing. Yeah, you don't need every film and every franchise, but there are times, and there are a few. Like the thing is, like when we talk about Child's Play, Chucky, I've been talking about getting that Arrow video set for a long time because I like it, but everyone complained it doesn't line up. It's not great. It's not a great set. It's kind of expensive for what it is for Arrow. What the heck is this? I just got some stupid message about volunteering somewhere. It's like some random like political volunteering. I was like, it's weird. I have never had messages pop up on my phone on my computer before. And I know you can do that because I'm always been in the Apple, ecosystem, and so it does that. But like I haven't had it do it. And now like with this new computer, I don't have it fully set up and it popped. It just confused me and derailed my entire stream over this stupid volunteer political thing. So I don't even know what I was saying, but let's get back to let's get back to the chat. Let's refocus here. See, I always confuse Vampire's Kiss with Once Bitten. Yeah, I've done that before too. And Once Bitten is fun. That's one I don't have, and I'm waiting. I'm waiting for like a new release of that or somebody to put that out. I don't know who even owns that one, because that's the one with Jim Carrey, and that's a fun one. Let's see. Once I know that it had a 2-pack. Oh, that's the other thing. It had a 2-pack Blu-ray, and that's probably why I didn't pick it up. Bitten before. Once Bitten. Shout Factory put it out, or was supposed to put it out. So they never put out the single one. Let's see. They did put out the 2-pack. So Shout Factory 2-pack Blu-ray. It's Love at First Bite and Once Bitten is the only thing available. So there's that. And yeah, I held off on it. It's not a bad price for those two movies. They're not bad. I just, how I feel about the 2-packs there. So that's just not for me. But that's it. That's all we got. But yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for somebody else to pick this up. Especially, even like another country, I would easily import this. And it doesn't have to be on a 4K. I'd gladly pick up the single Blu-ray. But yeah, that's a fun one. But yeah, I used to mix them up too, and now I own Vampire's Kiss, and so I'm like pretty solid on it. And we got that. Let's see, and then what else we have? Is there something else here that I was like really stoked about? So Rounders, I like this film. We've gotten some treatments from this before. This had Blu-rays, but now we're getting these. See, it's just a Blu-ray though. We're getting a Blu-ray from 88 Films. So if you live in the UK, this is great. If you don't have it, I think it's a fair price. Importing it's going to add quite a bit to the price. So I don't necessarily think you need this unless you're an 88 Films collector. And I do have quite a bit of 88 Films, but most of my 88 Films things are either like sex films or like the sex erotic films or Hong Kong cinema. Like that's pretty much the two ends of my 88 Films with like, I think that's 101 films. But anyway, like, yeah, I'm pretty sure like that's all I have for 88 Films. And this is, I love it. I do love it. I don't dislike the art. I don't know if there's anything else on the inside. Let's see. Let's see. There we go. That's the interior. So that's the interior without the slipcover. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's the original movie poster. So yeah, I was like, I'm not hating on it. I don't need it. I just finally picked up the Blu-ray not long ago, probably within a year. Within a year, I picked up that Blu-ray. So I don't need this. It's not a 4K. It doesn't seem like anything crazy special. It's just a nice premium edition from 88 Films. So I think that's great. And then yeah, this. So on top of the Radiance Films and the Vampire's Kiss, which is something I really want to get. And after getting that Cutter's Way box, which is going to be the same size, I think I need that. But then this other thing, I don't think I've ever seen this. What is this? As 70s Spain was bristling against the dying dictatorship of Franco, the infamous television films. Yeah, I don't need that. 2 boxes, I don't need that. It might be fine. It's definitely not for me. But this is something. So this is getting a reissue. Life Force. Now, when this came out, this was a huge issue. People were losing their minds over this film. And it's a cult film. And granted, the main character, I forget her name, she's naked in the film a lot. I have this on Laserdisc. I never picked up, and I do love imprint, and I'm not opposed to the bigger premium boxes that they do, the giant, ridiculous boxes. I have the Never Ending Story, and I still want to grab the Kill Bill, but since the move, things happen. And so I didn't get the big giant premium Kill Bill set. I would like to, but this one, when it had that big giant premium set, people were like, that never bought imprint stuff before, were messaging me about it, and this got people to buy stuff from imprint. I liked it. I didn't need that big chunky box set. I didn't need that crazy, because it takes up a lot of real estate on the shelf. And while I enjoy the film, I was very happy with my Laserdisc, because the amount of times that I'm actually going to go back and watch it. But this being in the smaller form factor and the regular chunky box set, for me, that's an easy pickup. So that's something I want to grab. And it comes one movie, two cuts in the big chunky box set. So both cuts are going to be on two different cases, which is also nice. So in each case usually gets their own artwork. Well, not usually. I've never had one that has the same artwork. So you're going to get two different artwork on each case. The discs and usually interior artwork. Yeah, I've never had a single imprint film that didn't have interior artwork. So yeah, interior artwork on there. It's a nicer presentation in a smaller form factor. If you love Life Force, you want to get Life Force, it's a cult film, and it's space vampires, and the main character is naked all the time. And Sir Patrick Stewart is also in this film that almost never gets mentioned. But yeah, it's a wild one. But it's also, I would say it's not for everybody, but it seems like a ton of people love Life Force, and I could see why. I know I love that film for a certain reason. So yeah, that's definitely one that high on my radar. I'm going to be getting this one, and I passed on the big premium edition, so I'm definitely going to be getting this. And let's see, what is it? Anything extra? Slip box. So because sometimes they put books in these, and no, it doesn't seem like anything like a book. Let's see, overview, front view. What is this? Oh, you are getting a booklet. So limited edition hard box plus hardcover booklet. Oh, okay. So this two cuts of the film are going to be inside this one, and you're getting a book. And it's a booklet, but it's a little bit thicker. You're getting 4 discs. That's a lot of discs. That is a lot of discs. So yeah, this is something I'm going to be grabbing. Easy. And I'm assuming, I didn't hear anybody complain about the 4K transfer on this, but I have never seen it in 4K. I've only ever seen it on the Laserdisc that I have, and then before that, I've seen it on other formats. But yeah, it's going to be a nice pickup for me. And then what do we have? I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming out, but nothing's really standing out where I'm like, I really need this, or I'm super excited. Oh, here we go. There's one. Orgasmo. I do have the Blu-ray, I think. I have something. I think I have. Maybe I don't have Orgasmo. Maybe I've seen it a bunch. Let's go to CLZ. And then... No, I don't have it. I don't have this. Is this the first time to Blu-ray for this? Let's see. Did I spell it wrong? Oh, it's a Z. Yeah, it came out in 2015. So yeah, I'm telling you, I swear I had this. And so maybe this is one of because I am missing a box from the move. And every now and again I come across, I'm like, oh, like the Saint is a huge one. I know for a fact I just bought that because it took forever for it to get on Blu-ray. I bought it day one. I don't have it now. And I can go back into my Amazon and see that I bought it. So like maybe I did have Orgasm, because I swear I had it, because it's another one. My wife will not watch this movie. I think it's hilarious. And, Trey Parker, Matt Stone. And so I don't think I need like the new Kino Lorber version for $9. I think that Blu-ray is totally fine. But what is Kino Lorber doing? Let's see. All right. Kino Lorber is giving you, doesn't say. Yeah. That, I mean, it could come with some extra stuff. It's not saying what it's coming with, but interesting nonetheless. So it's coming to 4K, Ultra HD, Blu-ray. It's going to have the premium, Kino Lorber 4K price tag of the closer to the $30. Like I said, I don't know if I need that movie on 4K, but it's cool that it's coming. And if you really do need it, great. It's just, even then, like, I watched it a lot during the VHS eras. When they came out, I watched that movie a ton. And then when I had it on, I'm thinking I had it on Blu-ray. I've only seen it like 2 or 3 times like since then. And that's it. That's it. So yeah, I used to watch it a lot when it first came out. And I think it's fun. I also think it's fun, but it's another one, like, if I do pick it up again, I get that 4K, I spend the extra money on it, I'm definitely not going to be able to watch it. My youngest daughter, it's super not appropriate for her. And then, but she's like 9, so I gotta wait till she goes to bed. It's not even like I can go away so I can watch something that's wickedly inappropriate. Yeah, it's not going to happen. So I don't think I need the 4K. It's cool that it's coming though. And let's see, what's this? And Wicker Man. This is something, Children of the Wicker Man from Severin Films. Yeah, I don't think I need that either. The story of one of the most remarkable films ever made. Yeah, I do like that type of stuff, but generally when I watch these, background scenes, these documentary things, like, if it was included in the film, totally fine. But like, to buy this separately, this has to be one of my all-time favorite films. It has to at least make my top 100 favorites of all time, or like something like the Ray Harryhausen one, where it encompasses many of his films. And it's just, if you're a Ray Harryhausen fan, like, it's fine. But like, you have to be a huge fan of the Wicker Man to buy this, to then watch it multiple times. That's just my thought on it. And so Wicker Man, fine, but I don't need this. If it was included in any of the releases, that's super cool. But other than that, because it literally would be a one-time watch for me. And there's that. And there was this. I don't know, where's this? This one's coming out. So Popeye. I thought Popeye was getting a 4K. I've never picked up the Blu-ray, and it's been many years since I've revisited that. I don't know why. It was down at the bottom, so I just want to talk about it now. I swear that somebody said that this was coming out to 4K, and it's a movie I would like to add to the collection, but the Blu-ray's been fairly, you could still find it, and it's been fairly cheap. I even think I've seen it at Barnes & Noble for like under $10. So it's been around, and I think the Blu-ray is probably fine, but this has been said that it's coming to 4K, and I where is it? Where's that film? Be an easy pickup for me, I think. But that's why I'm waiting. But I was like, I probably would be fine with the Blu-ray, for real. What's this? Queen's Kelly. What is this? Something I don't need? From 1942 or 1929. 1929. So this is coming out of Milestone. I like older films. I don't know if I need this, but it intrigued me. It was an interesting cover. Interesting cover. But yeah, I don't think I need that. But yeah, those are the things that I'm super stoked for there. And I don't know what you guys are stoked for. Let's catch up with the chat, and then we'll hit up the show within the show. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. I also enjoyed the show with Christopher Lloyd. What show? Oh, is there a Tremor show? Let's see, what do we got? Was at Second and Charles yesterday. Saw a film packaged as a Blu-ray and DVD. Opened up, one disc Blu-ray, side DVD, flip side. That sucks. That's like, hope you didn't pay a lot for it. But yeah, that sucks. I mean, at least there was a Blu-ray. At least there was a Blu-ray. Let's see. What do we got? I locked my pre-order in for Avatar Collection Edition and the Rambo Collector's Edition. Nice. We tried. I watched the Avatar movie, and I don't hate it, but it's just not something I want to revisit all the time. And then we tried to watch the second one as a family, and my kid got bored. She left. My wife ended up on her phone, and then I ended up cooking. And just I got up and went to the kitchen and started cooking dinner, and didn't care that I was missing part of the movie. So it's one of those things, like if you like it, that's awesome. But if those movies haven't sucked me in like some of the other films do. And so that one, I just remember when it came out, it was such a huge spectacle, and Fox was pushing it so hard that like every TV show that Fox owned was throwing that in there. And I remember specifically, I was like heavy into the Bones TV show, and there was a scene where the scientists all like left the lab to then go, they're solving crimes and stuff, and they had to leave the lab to then camp out overnight to then go see Avatar, and they wouldn't stop talking about it. And there was this whole scene where they had a tent on the sidewalk in a line, and it was a little, silly. And that was not the only one. There was like almost every Fox show was mentioning it. It was like such a big deal. And so I went, or I didn't go see it. That was the thing. I didn't see the movie, and I waited until like everyone stopped talking about it, because that was one of those things where it's like, it just feels like so much, it's just, you have to go see this movie. I didn't want to see it. And then when I finally did, I bought it, I watched it with my kids, and then we sat there, and like, I didn't leave hating it. We never rewatched it. We never really got into it. And so then I watched it again, and then I ended up getting rid of it. And so there's that. But then I did try to watch the second one, and maybe my youngest daughter would get into it, because at the time when we watched that first one, she was like a baby. She was a newborn. So it's been a while, and yeah, we tried. It just wasn't for us. But I'm glad you got it. And I'm, Rambo, I'm super stoked about that. I just hope I can get one. Yeah. Glad you got both of them. Let's see. I got the Arrow version of Life Force. Very happy with it. Yes, Darren G. That's one of those things is like, it doesn't matter. It's probably going to be the same transfer. I'm glad you got it. Like Arrow Video put it out, and there's always that thing. Like there are certain things where I understand the FOMO. It's like a certain version, a certain thing. If you love it, yes. But so many of these films, especially the cult films, it seems that they're being passed around, but from different studios. And so if you miss out on one, you can always get another one. And yeah, if you have the Arrow, there's zero reason that you need to run out and get this one. But if you don't have it at all, it's probably a nice option. I don't know if the Arrow Video is still available, but yeah, I'm glad you got that too, brother. But yeah, it's the thing. I'm looking forward to it, because I just watched it. I watched it when everyone was talking about it again. I watched the Laserdisc. And so like when the imprint announced their big giant version, and I knew I didn't need the big giant version, but I watched it again, and then that was the last time I watched it. So yeah, it's been some time. I'm looking forward to it. Every red-blooded fellow should lose their minds over Life Force. Yeah, I don't disagree there. Now, let's see. What is your favorite movie from 78 to 82? I would probably say, hold on, let's see. I would say, because like it's not the typical. I mean, I like some of the ones that came out around that time, but probably I would probably have to say my favorite would be any of the John Carpenter films that were put out then. Let's see. Let's double check. There's this one. I think it came out in 84. That's the thing. I think let's see. Because this comes up from my favorite film from that era comes up here, but I think it's 1984. Let's see. There's that. Yeah, that's actually 88. I was wrong. But it would be this. That's 73. Yeah, I don't know. I don't usually remember dates. I have to look stuff up. I have so many films, like to pull stuff out of memory is always a hard thing. Because I was going to say Serpico, but Serpico is 73. So yeah, I was like, because like your typical ones, Jaws, Star Wars, those are things, but they're not my favorite. They're good films. I enjoy those. Any of those. Yeah, great. But there were some John Carpenter films that came out in that era. Those are great. I mean, Halloween, that's a perfect, for that time period. Like those are just the ones that people always say, and they're great. They're great. And Halloween would, if you were to just narrow it down, I would just give you an answer. It would probably be Halloween for sure. But let's see, because The Thing came out in '82, and like that's a good one. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So if I were just to go between those two, it would probably have to be The Thing and Halloween if I would narrow it down. But it's like I don't think that's like the right answer. I think if I were to look at all the films from those years, I could probably pick out like 3 or 4 that I love more than those. But if we're talking about like genre movies and stuff, like yeah, Thing 100% up there. One of my favorite horror films, sci-fi horror. It's one of my favorites. Halloween is probably my all-time favorite slasher film. But if we were to just go those years, probably not my all-time favorite film in those years. See, Life Force was a big piece of canon history as well. Arrow's version still pops up every now and again, and it's a solid version too. Nice. Yeah, canon films. There's so many hidden gems, and I think it might not be canon. It might be Orion, because Orion canon, and there's like one other one, Calico. Those films are all super fun. And the one that I don't have. I'm pretty sure I had a Blu-ray. I'm pretty sure it's out of print right now. Free Jack. I want Free Jack so bad. I want that to come to 4K. Or just a re-release. I want somebody else to put Free Jack out. I'm fairly certain. Maybe it's one of those ones that's stuck. Let's see. Do I have this still pulled up? Let's see. No, I don't have that pulled up anymore. Let's see. Free Jack. I was fairly certain Free Jack had a Blu-ray before. Yeah, Free Jack had a Blu-ray from Sony, which is weird. And the Amazon price is $139 and then used $119. Let's see. So yeah, it's interesting that Sony has, I don't know if there's any other rights issues. Sometimes those studios, they multiple studios own the rights, and so maybe there's an issue. I don't know, or maybe they just think it's a film that nobody wants to buy, or maybe the sales of the original Blu-ray didn't do well, and so we're not getting it. But Free Jack would be an easy day one pickup, and I don't know why I didn't have it in the first place. Let's see, Free Jack. The Free Jack Blu-ray on eBay, you're looking at $100 plus shipping, $110 on average, $140. Yeah, it's one. And I don't necessarily think that it came out in another country either. So maybe I can import a different version. Let me double check. All countries, Free Jack. And I mean, that's one I would probably be happy with a DVD. What do we got? Germany. Looks like Germany put one out. Okay, I can pick up this German version for like 18 euros. So yeah, okay, I'll be importing Free Jack very soon. I like that movie. That's one. And when did it come out? That's one. Let's see, that would be an easy day one pickup. It came out in '92, but it has like this. It's one of those things that I've said this before. I think most films and music and TV shows, at the beginning of every decade, they have the leftovers of the previous decade, but then they don't have the vibe of that previous decade. But Free Jack has its own weird thing. It does not, and I could, you can argue the point, but I feel it doesn't have that 90s vibe. It just has its own thing. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. What can I say? I'm in love with blue people, and I'm a big fan of James Cameron. Yeah, there's nothing wrong. If you love it, yeah, I'm happy you love it, brother. I'm happy. What is this? Let's see. Raffy says, did you hear Kino Lorber is preparing a 4K Blu-ray Ultra HD disc of 1981's Deadly Blessing horror film? No. No, but I am stoked about the upcoming Watchers. I love that film, and that's getting a new a Blu-ray or 4K very soon. Let's see, what is this? Deadly Blessing? Deadly Friend's a good one too. Deadly Blessing, I don't have it. So the last issue that it had for Blu-ray, it looks like 2013. So yeah, is that coming out? Let's see. Oh, okay. I have seen this. Yeah, I did different artwork. So yeah, that's coming out from Kino Lorber. Yeah, I'm gonna get that one. Yeah, for sure. 100%. I like that film. Yep. Yeah, I don't have it in the collection, but yeah, 2013 was the last time that was out, and it was out by Shout. And I wasn't buying Shout movies in 2013. I didn't start buying Shout movies. My first Shout movie was Matinee with John Goodman. It was a Joe Dante film, and I had to have it. I love the film, and it was when I first started like collecting all formats of movies. That's when 2016 is when I got into getting VHS again, DVDs again, and then I started looking for those older films. And I was like, well, I don't want to spend money on this Matinee DVD. Is there a Blu-ray? And I saw that Shout Factory, and that was my first introduction to. I didn't know who they were. I was super stoked, and like the online communities and there was forums. There's always been forums for movies and that type of stuff, but like the online communities like this, where it was just like instant information of check out this film, wasn't there. And there, you go back to that time period. There was probably a few. There's definitely a few. There's like Cool Duder's been around forever. So there's been a few guys, but like it's just I had never heard of Shout Factory until then, and then that just kicked off my, then I got into Kino Lorber, and then I got into Imprint, and then then I got into Criterion. Like I was one of those ones that dragged my feet on Criterion, because at the time, like anytime where I lived in Rhode Island, and then the Barnes and Noble that was close to us, we lived in this little tiny island. It's Newport, Rhode Island, and so we lived in this little tiny island, and the little Barnes and Noble there was only catered to so many people, so it wasn't that big. And then we never had I have a Criterion selection that's huge here. There was a little tiny rack. There was never walls and tons and tons of Criterion movies. There was a little tiny rack, and they always had the oddball foreign films, the old stuff that I wasn't into. Like I've always liked old films, but like they were into like art house type films. Like it was just nothing was appealing, and then everything was always expensive. And so I was like, I'm not into Criterion. So I dragged my feet on that. But it wasn't until I moved to Virginia that we had access to a larger Barnes and Noble that had a ton of Criterion. And then I was like, oh, I like these films. And then I got into it heavy then. But yeah, that was pretty much the order. And it was from Shout Factory. Let's see. Darren G says, as much as I love sci-fi, I have no interest in seeing the third Avatar movie. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I if you love it, you love it. Like go right ahead. But like it never sucked me in. And the thing is, like, I thought maybe I was just, for whatever reason, maybe I was just one of those guys that, or the Avatar might be a movie that you have to see at the right time in your life. And, because I'm a firm believer in that. And there are plenty of movies that I saw as a kid where I still watch them now, but I know if I watched them for the first time now, maybe I wouldn't love them as much. And so there's always that. And so then trying to watch it with my kids weren't even into it. And so my older kids, we tried to watch the first Avatar and they weren't into it. And then my youngest, we didn't even try to watch the first Avatar. She saw the trailer. She's stoked. She is super excited about this. We watch it. She's out. And she's, you can argue maybe she didn't understand it, went over her head. She can explain movies to you like nobody's business. Like, and then her favorite is to explain Star Wars like you've never seen it before. But it's not just, and this happens. Like she actually can talk about nuance and stuff. And it's interesting that, she's 9. And so for her to be bored with it, I'm going to trust that. See, we need American Beauty in 4K is 20th century. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 20th century. I have American Beauty on several formats. I have a limited edition South Korean Blu-ray that I love from Nova Media. and I have quite a few copies of that film. That was one of the ones I collected multiple copies. I have the one from South Korea, but all the rest are just from America, different versions, the Blu-rays, the DVDs. That would be an easy day one pickup. I enjoyed that film, and it was funny. So like I dated this girl, in the early 2000s. I've graduated high school. I'm, becoming an adult, living my life, doing my thing, dating this girl. And I went to go visit, and she owned, and I come from like, I was having my movie collection. I was buying DVDs on a regular basis every Tuesday. Like I was really getting into it. And I had a very massive library in the early 2000s of just DVDs. And then I met this girl, and it blew my mind. She only owned 3 movies. And the 3 movies she owned was Dumb and Dumber, the Jim Carrey, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and American Beauty. And those were the 3 movies that she owned. And I was just like, one, I love American Beauty. I think that's great. But like, just to see that, like, ends of this, and those are the ones that were worth buying for her. And so it was just too funny, I thought. But yeah, 100%. I agree with you. American Beauty, day one purchase for sure. Let's see. Arrow Video is releasing the 4K discs of Japanese horror film Audition 1999 for June 26th. Did you notice that? I did. I didn't see it on this thing, but I did see it somewhere. So I think I saw it on maybe on Twitter or something. But I have the regular Blu-ray, and I don't know if I need to like run out and grab it, because I just picked that Blu-ray up before I moved. So like within last year, I picked up Audition. So, and I've seen it twice. And if I buy it, then I got to watch it again. And I just bought, like, that's the thing. Like, I think it's great. And yeah, it's awesome. So maybe I'll get it eventually. I hope it doesn't sell out, kind of thing. And so there's that. But maybe the next time I do want to watch it, maybe I do want to check out that 4K. So it's another one. It's one of those ones that's harder to double dip on, because how many more times am I going to watch it? Or it hasn't felt like an every year movie. So I just watched it. I watched it when I first got it, and then I had it settle, and then within like a week or so, I watched it again, and then I enjoy it. I like the film, and I think it's great. And then that's sitting up there on my Arrow shelf, but I don't feel like I need to watch it right now. Like that's the thing. And so like if I buy the 4K, and I would watch it, and I would probably enjoy it. I enjoy my time, but like, it's just, I don't know if it needs a yearly watch. So yeah, I'm glad it's coming out for sure. I didn't pick it up day one when it first, I waited forever to get mine. And that was a first time watch for me. It was so good. Strange Behavior, in 1981 horror movie that has a good special edition. Have you seen that one? Louise Fletcher and Michael Murphy. Yeah. Strange Behavior is a good one. That's a good one for sure. Let's see. Is that the one which one? The one's coming out. I'm pretty sure I just saw like something about Strange Behavior. I got an email or something. Strange, or maybe I did. Maybe I actually already have it and don't realize I have it. Did Sidney Lumet do that? Is that in the Sidney Lumet imprint box? Because if that's the case, then I might have it. Let's see. So for some reason, Strange Behavior is really sticking. Like I just had it like in my hand, or I just read something on it. Strange Behavior. No, Michael. Oh, so you already said Michael Laughlin. So no, that's not Sidney Lumet. So I have something else from Sidney Lumet then. Why is this sticking in my head? Let's see. No, I have not seen this one. But just looking at the stills from the movie, I'm in. A scientist is experimenting with teenagers and turning them into murderers. Slasher horror, teen horror. That's a solid pick. I will actually pick that one up. Here, write that down. I don't know why I was thinking of something else that it wasn't. All right. Yeah. Thank you for that. I'll check that one out for sure. Let's see. Do you have some second sight films, Blu-rays and 4K discs? Blu-rays and 4Ks discs from Umbrella Entertainment, Vivision imprint, films from Australia and New Zealand. Uh, yeah, yeah. I have all of those. I have a small second sight collection, but I have a decent imprint. I'm a huge imprint fanboy, and so I get a ton of imprint films. And I'm always going back, like the ones that I miss. So like I just got something in the mail there, Bug, William Friedkin's Bug from it was an imprint release. It's been released before, but I wanted that version, and I got an eBay version, so it was already opened, it was already there, and I saved a few dollars, and so I'm always adding the imprint ones. But my second sight, I only have 5 second sight titles. I have uh, the Nice Guys, Dawn of the Dead, Ginger Snaps, It Follows, and I can't see it because it's all red, but it's that You're Next. So I have that's my entire second sight collection. But it's not saying I wouldn't get more. Oh, and then I have the standard version of Short Circuit from Second Sight, but it's just a standard. They never did a chunky box set. And that was an early release for them. Umbrella, I have a decent Umbrella collection, and it's not a monster collection, but I've got the Burt box, I've got Super Mario Brothers, Daybreakers, Freaked. I got a bunch of the Blu-rays, just random Blu-rays. Not everything was in the chunky box set. A bunch of that stuff. So yeah, I have a lot of them, and a mixture of everything. Like some have Blu-rays, some have 4Ks, but all of them seem to have great transfers. Let's see, was there anything else I missed? Second Sight, yep. Umbrella, yep. And I order direct from all those companies, so I do like that, because I think, one, if you're ordering a bunch from them anyway, if you can get international free shipping. I don't know about Second Sight. I've only ordered the 2 times I've ordered from Second Sight was one item, so there's that. But Umbrella, I usually put in a decent order and I get a bunch of stuff to then get the free international shipping. Same thing with the imprint. And then anything else, like I do try to find a good deal on eBay. Yep, and that's it. Yeah, I order from all those places. You got Alien, Blade Runner, Raiders, Empire. Yeah, I like those. I like them all. If I were to choose, if you're saying because they came out in that era or the time period, if I were to choose, man, it would probably have to be Raiders. I love Indiana Jones. From a childhood, like I watched those VHS tapes till they wore out. Like, and then I tell this story. Like, I had the VHS tapes, our VCR broke, and we were watching a rental tape, and so my mom tried to fix it by using my Indiana Jones tapes, and then she broke my Indiana Jones tapes, and so there, I had that trauma, and so yeah, Raiders is probably my favorite for sure out of that era. But I like them all. Like Alien, I have all those films, and I watch them almost on a yearly basis. Raiders gets watched easily once a year. Empire multiple times a year. We do the Star Wars thing. My kid has watched Star Wars more times than I ever have in my entire life. She's a huge Star Wars fan, nerd too. She can explain Star Wars, which is ridiculous. But then we try to do simple things, and she's like, she doesn't like. I'm like, pick this up and put this in the laundry room, and I find it in the kitchen. But she can explain Star Wars. Yeah, Alien gets a yearly watch for sure. It's great. I love them all, but Raiders is probably my pick. Did you buy the Radiance Films Takashi Miike trilogy? The first movie is crazy. No, I didn't. I don't have many Radiance films. I did just pick up Cutter's Way, and then I have I forget the name. It's a comedy with something Stiggs. It's a good one, but I forget it. Those are the only 2 Radiance films I have, but no, I haven't seen those. But on my radar, I'll definitely pick that up. See, The Thing is a great choice, and Escape from New York. Yeah, Escape from New York is a good one. It's high up there. It really is high up there too. Let's see. Do you have some titles from Eureka Entertainment, Indicator, Powerhouse Films, Do you have Criterion Blu-rays? Yeah, I have all that stuff. Like I'm a huge fan of Powerhouse Indicators, so I order from them. I usually do a pretty big order, like once a year, and then randomly I'll pick up a title here or there. So I did a boutique label breakdown of some of my favorites, and in that I had just like I went to hit record and the doorbell rang, and I got the imprint delivery, or yeah, indicator delivery. And so in that video I go over some of my favorites, why they're my favorites, some of the chunkier box sets, the standard editions, what you might be getting into. And then in that, I go over my latest indicator haul because the box showed up that day and I explain it there. So I have quite a few indicator titles. And then Eureka, I only have like 2 Eureka films, and it's one of the ones I just kind of forget about. Like I enjoy their films, but most of the films that I have gotten from them, it's only because that's the only version that I found. Like I didn't find that version anywhere else. And so a lot of times with my Eureka titles, my favorites are on other places, so I'm able to get those. But yeah, Criterion, I have quite a bit of Criterion films, and a mixture of both too, a mixture of both 4Ks and Blu-rays. And let's see, Eureka, Indicator. Yeah, I have all those for sure. Airplane's an interesting one. So I like Airplane. I didn't like Airplane. That was one that everyone was talking about my entire life. It came up, the jokes, Don't Call Me Shirley. Like it was very quotable. Everyone talked about it. I finally watched it and I wasn't into that kind of humor. And then everyone got on me real bad about that. So they're like, man, you don't like Airplane? Like, what's wrong with you? And so then I used to do these like live streams late at night, and I would do a watch party and we would watch the films. And then, we would all do it live. So basically just like this, but then you would all have, I'd give everybody a link and then you could just watch it on your phone, the movie. And so while we're doing the live stream, it's commentary, we're all hanging out watching the movie. And man, I couldn't get into it. And it was the thing. And I don't know if I was just not in the right frame of mind or what. I was just like, whatever. But since then, so I might give it another chance. I've been thinking about it a lot lately. I might give it another chance because there are several films now that 20 years ago, I was like, that's dumb. I hate it. I'm not into it. Or this is mediocre and I don't get why everyone's so excited about it. And 20 years later, I give it another chance and I'm like, completely different mindset. I'm a different place in my life. My taste in movies have changed. And it was hilarious then. It's just for whatever reason, I wasn't into it. And so the jokes hadn't changed. I changed. And so like my favorite one to talk about is Happy Gilmore. I liked Happy Gilmore. I thought it was good, but all my friends were like, oh my God, it's the funniest thing ever. Adam Sandler's so great and blah, blah, blah. And I don't disagree, but like Happy Gilmore, it's like almost like I didn't get it. And I was like, it's fine. I thought it was a one and done. And then shortly later, like I had watched it another time. And I was like, man, I still don't really get it. And then it ended up being like $5 at Best Buy. And it was like shortly before Best Buy stopped carrying physical media in stores. And I picked it up on the $5 whim. It's $5. I want to watch it. I'll give it a chance. There was like hardly anything, like all the new releases were garbage, nothing I wanted. And then the few things that I did were like older titles. And then I was like, $5, I'll give it another try because it's cheaper than a rental. And I ended up loving it. I've watched it probably, I would say easily 24 times, like in the past couple of years. And I die laughing every single time. So maybe I'm the same way with Airplane. And I've said it before. So I'll give Airplane another shot. Let's see. Free Jack was a fun ride, but I would believe that Estevez and Jagger would be great pairing on the big screen. Yeah, I'm telling you, I like Free Jack. Yeah. I don't know. Estevez, yeah. Who like that was the thing. Like when I heard it was Mick Jagger, I really was like not really off put, but I'm like, this movie can't be great. Like there was that. Like Estevez, like having Estevez there. It didn't bother me. It was literally, I'm like, Mick Jagger in a film, it was worth it. It was worth it. Yeah. Let's see, what do we got? Let's see, can you please show some excellent Blu-rays and 4Ks from Shout Factory and sub-label Shout Select? Do you own various physical media discs from them? Yeah, I have over 3,000 movies. So I actually am doing and it's going to take a while, my complete collection. So I'm working on that right now. And it's not just like, hey, here's all my movies. It's me sitting down here saying, here's my movie. This is what it's about. This came out, this was the vibe of the film, and then move on to the next one. So like each one is because like everyone has seen different films and everybody's on a different journey. And so while I think everyone saw all the movies I've seen, there's times where I mention like a super popular movie and somebody hasn't seen it. And also like there's newer collectors that were born after the 2000s and they're just now getting into collecting, and so there's movies that they completely missed. And so I'm going to go over every single movie as if nobody's seen them, and then there's definitely hidden gems, and there's probably something in my movies, there's probably something that you've missed. And so yeah, I'll go over that. But again, I've never done like a Shout specific video or Shout Focus or even Scream Factory, but I have plenty of their films. And off the top of my head, two of my favorites. I just picked up one. Somebody recommended one the other day, which ended up being a Shout Select. It's an older film. I've seen it. It's a good film, but it's like a cult film too. So that was fun. But off the top of my head, I know that I have Bride of Chucky. That's a Scream Factory movie. I have the Poltergeist movie. That's Scream Factory, I'm pretty sure. And then my favorite comedy from Shout Select, it has to be Used Cars with Kurt Russell. That's one of my favorites. But yeah, I'm going to do an entire movie collection video coming up soon. It's going to take some time because 3,000 movies individually, one at a time, and then I'm going to break it down. Certain things. I don't think I'm going to break it down to like these are all my Shout videos or Shout movies. I'm going to break it down to how I have it stored on the shelves. I think that's how I'm going to do it. And maybe I will, because like there is that argument like Shout is technically a boutique label, but the Shout movies, both of them, Scream Factory, Shout Select, they're mixed in with my studio releases because it works better for me. And I understand the transfers are good, the audio is good, they are a boutique label, but the packaging is almost always studio packaging, and it just works out better there. And then I end up watching those films more. Things that are in here feel a little bit more special, and then the majority of the stuff that's over here isn't really for the family. With there's some outliers, but like my family's not going to sit down and watch Two Orphan Vampires with me. Like there's that, or Twins of Evil. Like they're not that I only have on VHS. I haven't picked up the imprint version yet, but Twins of Evil, it's a Hammer film, a Hammer horror vampire film. My family's not going to watch that. So it's like so the Shout Select, the Shout stuff is out there. Let's see. Do you have any favorite French horror films, Italian giallo films, South Korean horror films? I don't like. I'm not the biggest horror hound. I like films from all genres, but when it comes to foreign films, I'm almost always picking up Hong Kong cinema. And I have some outliers, but almost all of my dramas or my foreign films are dramas, and and a few comedies, but very rarely is it like foreign horror. I do have some indicator titles that have that are horror, foreign horror films, but not too many. And I think they're good, but I wouldn't say they're like my favorite. But yeah, there's that. I haven't picked up any of the Japanese horror. I have thought about like going back. Well, I have Ring You. That's a good Japanese horror. Maybe I don't have that anymore because I haven't seen that in a while. Maybe that didn't make it in the move. But yeah, there's that. I don't have a ton. And then like the Japanese horror that was remade with Americans and then it was released over here. I've seen that because like those were popular at the time. But going back to see some of that Japanese horror, I haven't. But I have like a very small selection of that stuff. Let's see. It says Stacy says hard to watch everything. Do you ever wish that you could watch everything at 2 times the speed and still be able to comprehend the movie? No. And I have a system. The system generally it's like I wake up in the morning, I watch a movie, I have some coffee, but I watch 3 movies a day minimum, and it's just the way my lifestyle works out. But and how I do it is there's certain movies, like some of my all-time favorite movies that I've watched, my whole life. I've seen multiple times. I put on when I'm doing things like I'll be cooking in the kitchen and I have a movie playing, but it'll be Goonies or it'll be a movie that I've seen so much that it's not the biggest deal if I miss a part. But if I'm doing a movie that I want to talk about for review, then I actually sit down and watch it. And then I actually have an ability to watch movies. I rip stuff to my Plex server, and then I have the iPad here. And then as I have the iPad here, then I'm just what is it? It's I have the iPad right here, and I put the Plex server on, and then I'm able to watch stuff that I've ripped to the hard drive, and then while I'm editing. So if I'm over here, I'm working on a video, or I'm planning out a video, or I'm doing any work here, I have that going. And then so I'm able to knock down 3 movies solidly. But in the morning, that's the best time. So whatever I'm watching in the morning, 100% focused. And then usually we do family time, family, regular TV shows, that type of stuff. We watch movies every now and again, but that's what they get to pick out. And then at nighttime, I watch usually something that's really not family appropriate, or especially like for my kid. And that's when I watch that stuff. And again, it's usually but the thing, what I actually wish is, so since I started making this, doing videos, I started doing this and I love it. And so I'm not regretting it and I'm not complaining at all. But a lot of times I'm watching a movie for the community, for you guys, like, and that's that. And so like this, why we're talking about these today here, because I'm going to watch them this weekend. But I used to watch these movies to then talk about them because I want to share that. Like that's the whole point. It's about discovery. It's about finding new movies, about finding things. And so then it felt like homework. I was doing a lot of work to watch all these movies to then talk about them. But like I could still say from my memory of like what I remember from it. And that's usually what I ended up saying anyway. So then I was doing all this work to then try to hurry up and watch them in a certain amount of time and then get the video out. And like it was just like, it was frustrating. And so there was a time when I was just a movie collector and a guy that loved movies, and I could just watch whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. I could buy whatever I wanted. And then it didn't have that. And so now I have this thing, like my favorite thing that happens is if I talk about any kind of movie, and whether somebody agrees or disagrees, if I don't include their favorites, like people are like, I can't take you seriously because you didn't talk about this film. Well, I've made hundreds of videos. I have thousands of movies, and we all don't like the same things. Like there's no way that we're all going to have the exact same opinion. Like I grew up and I have action movies. I like action movies, and that's that. But I'm not a huge action junkie. I have a big selection of action movies. I have the core staples. I have the 90s stuff. I have those things, but I grew up as a kid that liked dramas, and all my friends would watch the comedies and the action films. And like, if I was born in the 2000s, all my friends would be watching the Marvel films, and I would be watching, Fred Astaire films from, in black and white from the 1940s and 50s. Like that's where I was when I was a kid. And so like we have differences of opinions, but there's a huge crossover. And so now watching a film, no matter what it is, it's almost always for the community to hang out, to talk, and to have stuff to talk about. But in the past, I used to just watch a movie whenever I can, and it wouldn't matter if I bought a movie or I didn't buy a movie. So like, and that's another thing that comes up too. It's like I can't take you seriously because you didn't buy this on whatever, or this 4K, or you didn't upgrade your 4K. And like I have the Blu-ray, and it's not one of my all-time favorites, and the Blu-ray is fine. Like I didn't need it. It wasn't a day one for me. Everybody has their own priorities. But the biggest thing for me is this. So this is a backdrop. Like this is so you guys can have something to see. But I owned this stuff. I owned all this stuff before I had the videos. But the way I display my stuff, I've always done that, and I like that. But I have way more movies than I ever had. So The thing is, being able to watch everything, I don't have that wish. I really don't. I enjoy what I have, and everything gets watched at some point. But some things get watched once a year, and some things get watched every 5 years. Some things get watched every 2 years. But everything in here gets watched, and it's not just me; it's the entire family. So while there's a big chunk of the collection that I might have missed this year, the rest of the family's watching it, and so there's like a core bunch of films that I might see every 5 years, but my kid watches once a month. Yeah, you're not a horror guy, horror hound. Would you consider yourself a Hong Kong cinema hound now? No, but I definitely appreciate Hong Kong cinema now more than I did when I was a kid. And I watched a lot of this stuff when it was on TV, but I didn't actively seek it out until now. And the thing what I like about it now is everybody talks about horror. Everybody talks about their favorites, and everybody has their favorites, and that's totally fine. But it's almost like Hong Kong cinema, and like some of you guys recommend a lot of stuff, like the Mark Dacascos stuff. Like I didn't, that stuff just passed me by completely. Like Driver is such a good film, but like that type of stuff, like I like it because it almost feels like a hidden gem. So it feels like going back to the video rental store, finding these things. Nobody's talking about them. They're great in their own way. And they might have been a recommendation from like 1 or 2 people, but it's not the constant before I know what I'm getting into. Like, if I try to get into any of the horror films, like, and I partly think social media has ruined a lot of it because it's constantly, the spoilers, all the stuff's out there, and you already know what you're getting into. If you go into a movie blind, and I really enjoy that. So I'm not saying like I want to spend $50 on every single movie and whether I like it or not. Like I'm not saying that, but going into a movie blind, and it was going back to that video rental store, just picking up something fun, and going into that Hong Kong cinema. So when you guys recommend some stuff, they're still not talked about a ton, and even it's like, check out this film, so and so's in it, or it's about this, and like these one little sentences that I get, that's great. But like when I try to search out like horror stuff, like it's constant, the plot points, the breakdowns, like everything, and I'm like, well, I don't, it doesn't feel the same. It feels so like the Hong Kong cinema. I would not call myself a Hong Kong cinema hound, but I appreciate it on a different level. I think that's where I'm at with that. Let's see. All right, all right. So I tried to make this animation. So I promise you, next week, I was worried about all the other stuff. Next week, there will be an animation or maybe just like a trailer for the segue into the show within the show. So today we're doing the show within the show. And before we do that, I do want to say next week, we're going to be doing the giveaway. So we're going to give away a shirt and a mug and the Housemaid. So I have the Housemaid on 4K digipack sealed, brand new. I don't have it next to me or I would show you. I bought 2 copies. I bought one to give away. So we're going to give one away, and then I'll mail that out. And then there's that. And then the shirt and a mug in the Fourth Wall store. So we're going to be doing that next week. But and then tomorrow is the member only live stream. So YouTube members, you can join it for as little as $1, and you have access to those live streams. Member only videos are for some of the other tiers, but the member live streams are for everybody that's a member over here. And then we have Fourth Wall memberships, and there's something we do next week. So next week we're going to do the Fourth Wall Zoom call, and that's not, it's like this. We're hanging out like a phone call, but it's not live, and it's kind of, an inner circle thing, smaller group of people, and you can join, you can not join, but we just hang out. And I always try to do that for about an hour. And then tomorrow, member only live stream around 8:00 my time. So we're doing that. I haven't figured out what we're talking about yet. I have it like a thing to talk about, but I haven't figured out like a theme for the video, but we're doing that tomorrow. But today we're doing a show within the show, and it is 90s movies that are not, maybe they're not all 90s. I don't know off the top of my head. I think they are, but movies that were from the video rental store era that were basically, cable staples. And so anytime, and I know for a fact, I rented all these at one point when they first came out, but throughout the years, I took so long to get any of them, and I have them all on VHS, and only a few I only have on Blu-ray, or maybe even, yeah, just a few on Blu-ray, and then the rest that's all I have is the VHS. And it's because they were on TV so much, and I got rid of my TV, cable and satellite dish in 2016. So the first one here is Arachnophobia. So Arachnophobia, this one here is great because small town gets infested by the spiders, and they breed with the smaller spiders, this big giant ridiculous one, and then they start killing everybody. Absolutely ridiculous, cozy horror, and it's just fun. But it just happened to be on TV all the time. You get the creepy cozy horror, and it's a very easy watch. And then this one here, I do have the Blu-ray. My Blu-ray does have the spider on here, but this is something that I remember when it first came out. It's one that I rented, because I was super excited. So one, I remember the spider there, and so that was kind of intriguing enough for me to turn over the back and see John Goodman. So this was an easy one for me to want to rent, and I love it. And it says a roller coaster of a ride of a movie. And when did this come out? This came out probably late 80s, early 90s, easy, right? Let's see. I don't even know. It doesn't say, but normally it says like something on here, some kind of like copyright stuff. I don't know. Maybe you guys will know. But anyway, so this came out, and I was young, and I've been watching it ever since. And it really was like I didn't have it I got the Blu-ray eventually, and it was because I remember renting it when I was a kid. I loved it, but this was just on TV all the time, and so every time I wanted to watch her, I felt like revisiting it. It was just there. And whether it was at the beginning or the middle or towards the end, just flipping the channel, I would stop and watch this one 100%. And, it's got the dark humor going on for it. It's great. John Goodman's character is hilarious in this film, but I recommend. And yeah, that's definitely one that, I love from that era. Now here's one that it's something that, it doesn't get brought up often. What the heck is this? It doesn't get brought up often, but this one here is one that I rented, when I was younger. And so this one came out 92. I was 10 when it came out. So, but I felt like I feel like I was younger than 10, but it's also not like a 10-year-old kid movie. But at the time I was heavy into baseball. And so it worked for me. But then when I watched it, Tom Selleck, you can't go wrong. We're talking about Mr. Baseball. And so this film, he plays a washed up baseball player. He gets sent to Japan to do the Japanese leagues. And it's got this vibe here. It's like dad core, chill, but it's relaxing. I watched this movie. I was 10. I've loved it ever since, but I do recall seeing this on cable often enough that I never tried to buy this film. And it was that 2016 time. And I don't think this got a deep Blu-ray. Maybe it does. Maybe it has a Blu-ray, but I don't have it. But 2016 time, I found this at the thrift store. It was an easy pickup. But before then, anytime I had wanted to rewatch it, it was on cable all the time. It felt like it literally like a dad movie night, a cable core movie. And that was the vibe. And yeah, this is one of my favorites. Now here's one. This was big at the time, and it was big with maybe my generation. So this is something that it's a little bit parody, but it's goofy. But the thing is, I think this was marketed to teens, and so it playing off that who directed this? Bobby Farley. Yeah. So this was something that it felt like any of those Trey Parker, Matt Stone films. It wasn't that, but it felt like if you liked those films, you would like this. So Kingpin is something that I remember renting. I enjoyed it. And then anytime after I saw it on television. And so this one here, you have a washed up bowler. Let's see, is it burnout? Yeah, I wrote my notes. Burnout bowler, Amish prodigy, road trip to a tournament. Vibe, dumb, raunchy, and secretly wholesome. So yeah, this one here, it had a little bit of everything going for it, and it had mass appeal. A lot of people were talking about this film at the time, and it's one when I worked at the video store, like I remember people rented this, people liked this film. But then after the fact, like I would remember commercials for it to be played on television, like almost like an event, or it's going to be playing this weekend, or it's going to be on Friday night at this time. And so this was just something that I just felt was on cable all the time. And another one, I don't own it. There's a 4K, I'm pretty sure. And I have this VHS since about 2016 time. And so I enjoy the film, but I just haven't picked up the Blu-ray or the 4K. Like I said, like every time I had wanted to watch it before then, it was always on cable. But yeah, this was fun. And then Vanessa Angel. So Vanessa Angel played Lisa on the Weird Science TV show, and I was in love with her from that. And so this was an easy watch just because of that. But yeah, Woody Harrelson, absolutely ridiculous. And overall, Jeff Daniels was great in this too. But yeah, great film for sure. What do we got? Housemaid giveaway, I'm in. Yeah, next weekend we're going to be giving away Housemaid on 4K. And what's up, 80s? What's up, Rick Saylor? What's up, brother? Arachnophobia is 1990. Yeah, so early. I was 8. It was great. And it was like, so not that I felt like I was too young to watch it. It's just like it was my first entry into like some horror films that my mom didn't like snub her nose at type of thing, like because I watched The Thing at a really early age, and has scarred me. I've talked about that a bunch of times, but Arachnophobia I enjoyed. Like that was one I watched, I enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed it ever since. But yeah, 1990, great. Oh man, Mr. Baseball is great. I agree. That's one that I think more people should watch. I don't know if there's a Blu-ray, but I just have the VHS, and so maybe I need to upgrade if there is a Blu-ray. Do you remember Quickly Down Under and High Road to China, both with Tom Selleck? I actually just got High Road to China. We'll be talking about that next week, and because I haven't seen it yet. Looks great, and I think it's one of those like Golden Princess films. I'm pretty sure. But Quickly Down Under, I'm pretty sure is a Shout Select title, and it's a great film. I enjoy that one as well. That one gets every 2 years or so. I watch that one, but yeah, that's a fun one. And that's one I remember back then. Like it was one I rented. Either I rented or it was on TV. But when it like years ago, like I was a kid when that came out. So that's when I remember watching it. And like the thing that impressed me so much was the gun. The gun for Quickly Down Under was ridiculous. And I don't know if like logistically it would work, but it was cool for the movie. And Kingpin. Yes, Kingpin for sure. They don't make them like Kingpin anymore. Shame. No, they really don't. They don't. And it was a fun one. Elizabeth Hurley, enough said. Yes. You can't go wrong with Elizabeth Hurley. A group of comedians came out a while as let's see. A group of comedians came out while I was deployed, and Brad Williams was one of them. He was easily the best. Yes, for sure. And I love Arachnophobia. Yeah, I do too. I think it's great. And I don't necessarily think it's underrated, but it's one that doesn't get talked about. And I think it's one of those ones that like, I think anybody that grew up in that era, it's almost one of those films that like, it feels like everybody should know this film. So it doesn't get talked about. And so the newer audience or newer people, like it's one of those things that I don't think it gets talked about enough in the right way. And when I do hear it being talked about, it is always that Mandela effect conversation. There was a spider, there isn't a spider. And the thing is, they had both covers. They had both. Now here's one. Now here's a movie that I love, and I don't think it gets talked about enough. And I'm fairly positive there's no Blu-ray on this, because this is one that I know that I would have upgraded easily. And this one here is it's a movie that it came out in the early 2000s, so it has complete chaos. But this is a movie where the same story is told from different points of view, and everyone's obsessed with the same woman. And I'm talking about One Night at McCool's. So complete chaos. You have Liv Tyler, Matt Dillon, John Goodman, Paul Reiser, and Michael Douglas. Amazing cast. And this is a film that I think it's just great. Who directed this one? Oh, I can't see. My eyes are failing on me. Yeah, I can't. Who directed it? Directed by Harold Zwart, I guess. But anyway, fun film. Love this one. And it's one that I think it comes up every now and again when people are talking about like underrated, underseen films. Because I know that I've heard other people talk about this, but it's another one. I think it's a shame that we don't have it. I don't know who put this out. It says USA Home Entertainment. Who owns the rights to this, though? It says Universal on the back. Is this a Universal film? Because they didn't distribute it, apparently. Let's see. Let me pull this up. One Night at McCool's. Like, why don't we have the Blu-ray of this? Because I've thought for the longest time this was like a Disney-owned property, and that's probably why we didn't have it. Let's see. Yeah, Harold Zwart is the one who directed this, but yeah, who the heck owns this? I'm not seeing who owns it. One Night at... Yeah, it seems like there's only a DVD. Yeah, it's a Universal Studios movie. And the thing, they didn't even distribute their own VHS. So maybe they don't have faith in this movie, but I think it's a high recommend. It's one of those ones that, it was an easy rental for me. I enjoyed it. It felt like a hidden gem, but like it was the trailers were out. I didn't see this in theaters, but the trailers came out and I was stoked about this film. And as soon as it was available to rent, I rented it day one and I've been watching it ever since. But this is another one that was it felt like it was on cable all the time, for sure. I forgot Vanessa Angel was in Kingpin. Yeah, she was. And like, I can't tell you anything else Vanessa Angel was in other than Kingpin and that Weird Science TV show, which wasn't as great. Like, if you compare Weird Science, the movie, to the TV show wasn't as good, but it was fun filler for teenage me. I enjoyed it. It was on USA. And it was where I fell in love with Vanessa Angel. And I can't tell you if I've ever seen any of her other movies, or if I have, like, I can't recall. Those are the only two. Let's see, Vanessa. And I was like, I probably should just pick up the 4K. Let's see. She was in a whole bunch of movies I've never seen, but she was in King of New York, which is a phenomenal film that I don't own. And I should. Like, King of New York is a must-own film, but I also think it flopped when it came out in the box office. That's one maybe I'm wrong on it, but I feel like it flopped at the box office. But it's one that I love. She was in Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. She was a stewardess. I don't remember. I've seen that movie so many times. Like, I've never said, "Oh, that's Vanessa Angel." So now I have to rewatch it this weekend because I love that film, and I know it's a bad one, but I love that one, and I didn't realize she was in that. She was in a ton of movies I've never seen. She was in a movie called Deadly Games last year. And a bunch of stuff, a bunch of like low budget B movie stuff, nothing great, nothing standing out. But I do love Stop My Mom Will Shoot and King of New York. So I do need to buy King of New York now. That's a good one for sure. I recently got the Arrow version of King of New York. Great film. Yes, I need it. I need it. It is a great film. And I just watched it. I don't know how I watched it because I don't own it. Maybe I watched it at my in-laws when we were moving. But I just watched it fairly recently. Like, that's the thing. Like, and then when I say fairly recently, like it fresh in my mind, maybe about a year. So there's that. But yeah, I do need it. So yeah, Arrow Video. Thanks. I'll be picking that up for sure. So we got that. And then, so this one, let's see, this next one here is one that, this one's great. This one's peak 90s. Let's see. Peak 90s, loud action film, action staple. It's one that if you're probably talking about action movies from the 90s, it's probably going to come up. And at the time, these were, they're still big name actors, but at the time, like, these are the actors they put on the cover, and it's that justification for like the big heads, because who cares what the movie's about? You went to go see the movie because John Travolta and Christian Slater were in it. And I haven't even opened up this VHS, but we're going to open it up. We're actually going to open it up today. And I have the Blu-ray. I don't need to watch the VHS. So, but yeah, this is completely sealed. Oh, there we go. So completely sealed, and it is Broken Arrow. I love this film. And we probably watch this film every 2 years at least. And great film, but you have a rogue pilot who steals nuclear weapons and wants to, ransom and get money out of the government. And it's a great film. But you have the chase scenes, the desert chaos, and this was literally peak 90s, loud, ridiculous, over the top. Perfect role for John Travolta. John Travolta in a bad guy role, great. And this film, I don't remember exactly time between the two films, but comparing it to Face Off and then this, where Face Off he's the good guy, but then he switches and he puts on the face of Nicolas Cage, and so then he acts like Nicolas Cage. So he does flip flop in that. But to see John Travolta as the hero, the good guy in that film, and then see him as the bad guy in here, like, it just worked. And like, I think like at peak 90s, because from Pulp Fiction, John Travolta came back. He had that big comeback from that. And then so this film, perfect, and probably one of my favorite action films from the 90s. It's probably not my all-time, but if I were to like knock out like a 25 favorite action films from the 90s, or even all-time action films, this would easily probably come up. But yeah, Broken Arrow, great film. Christian Slater, you can't go wrong. And this was on TV all the time. And so I do have the Blu-ray, but this is another one. It took me a while to get the Blu-ray because, like I said, I rented it when I was a kid in the 90s, loved it, and it was just always on cable. And so then, like I said, probably we cut the TV off around 2016, and I would say like right before that whole pandemic thing is about the time that I bought it. So yeah, that's one that it happened to be on TV all the time. And so I never felt the need to run out and own it. Now I do. Let's see, what do we got? And My Fire Videos. Hey, brother. Hey, this is, I wish King of Comedy would come out on 4K. That would be a good one. I haven't picked that up yet, and I haven't rewatched it in a while. So yeah, it's one I'm waiting. I would assume it's going to come out, but I have a Scorsese film on DVD that's stuck on DVD. I'm like 100% positive it's stuck on DVD. So like, you never know. Maybe King of Comedy won't come out on 4K, but I would expect it does. And yeah, I love Broken Arrow too. Yeah, Broken Arrow, you can't go wrong. Like, and then like, it was like that, like everyone's, and I'm not saying they're wrong, but like everyone's scared of like nuclear weapons. And like, it was kind of a talking point in the 90s. And I even remember, in the late 80s, like it was a huge hot button issue. And I remember like learning about it in school. Like they were like, talking about disarmament and like so it was at the tip of everyone's thought process. And a movie like that, where he's going to steal the nuclear weapons. Oh man, I think everybody enjoyed that film to a point. Yeah. And so now here's one I grew up watching. I still watch it to this day. Now, this is one that it was on cable TV all the time, but I owned this one. I've owned this one on DVD. I owned it on VHS. I still own it on VHS. I had it on Blu-ray, and now I have the 4K. And I don't think I got rid of any of my formats. But this movie, one of my all-time favorites, and it comes up all the time. And there's people that enjoy this film, and there's people that like to hate on it, but it's Willow. I do love this film, and this is the version I love. If I were to get a movie poster of this. I don't have the Willow movie poster. If I were to get a movie poster, it would be of this one. I enjoy this version, but this is a movie. Warwick Davis, you have, for me, this was just peak fantasy. So Val Kilmer was great in it, and as Mad Mardigan, you can't go wrong. But I always go back to the villain. So you have this thing where she's killing off babies, and when you talk about villains, like what is one of the worst things that could be done, and like that's what comes up, killing babies. You don't see it. Stuff's done and talked about off screen. And then at the end of the movie, she's willing to kill that baby for her end goal. You don't have a lot of villains like that anymore. A lot of times, like now we're getting these like villain backstories and these villain arcs, and you're feeling bad for the villain, and like the Last Predator, and I think the Last Predator was fun, so I'm not knocking it. But my entire life, Predator was the bad guy, and now you have this connection with him, where these older movies, the villain was the villain, and that's all that mattered. They were doing bad stuff, and the hero has to overcome this in a way. And for me, peak 90 or peak 80s, but like in the 90s, I watched this a ton, and it was always on television. And again, one of my all-time favorite fantasy films, and it was probably my number one fantasy film until I saw Legend. So this is one I watched first, and I watched long before Legend. But when I found Legend, that easily became my number one fantasy film, and this being probably number two. But yeah, high recommend if you've never seen it. But all-time favorite films, and that one is my all-time favorite fantasy film. But that's what I'm going to be watching this weekend, and I have the 4K, so I'll watch the 4K. I have the Blu-ray, so I'll watch the Blu-ray. This is the only version I have, so I'm watching this, and I'll watch it on the old CRT television. Same thing with Kingpin. And then, so that's going there, and Mr. Baseball. And Arachnophobia, I do have the Blu-ray, so I'll be watching that on the Blu-ray. So multiple formats, but I'm watching all these films, and they're all high recommend. So that was the Late Fees and Late Nights episode, a show within the show. And thanks for hanging out, guys. But I've been going for a little over 2 hours. And remember to watch a movie today. And I'll catch you guys next time.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Oh, don't give me a pat. That's fine.